Hello, and welcome to another segment of Smoke Signals. I'm your host for today's show, Lieutenant Chris Taylor from the LaGrange Fire Department. We have a great show lined up for you. We have a special guest here from the Georgia Firefighter Burn Foundation, so you do not want to miss this show. So stay tuned because you're about to watch Smoke Signals. Welcome back. Today we have with us a very special guest, Mr. Dennis Garden from the Georgia Firefighter Burn Foundation. Dennis, it's a pleasure to have you here today and welcome to the show.
Well, thank you guys for having us back. We really appreciate it.
Now, I know it's been several years since we've had you on the show, but it's always great to have you to come to LaGrange and just share some very, very important information with our viewing audience, especially about the Georgia Firefighter Burn Foundation.
Okay.
But before we get into some of this great information we're going to discuss today, could you tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been involved with the Burn Foundation, and just tell us a little bit about how you got involved?
Okay. I'm currently the executive director of the Georgia Firefighters Burn Foundation, and I've been doing that for several years now.
Okay.
But prior to that, I'd been a volunteer for over 10 years with the Georgia Firefighters Burn Foundation. I was invited down to participate in a program, and I came down, and then I got invited to the children's burn camp, and once I did that, I was hooked, and you couldn't keep me away.
Right.
And several years ago, I was approached about stepping in as executive director, and really appreciated the opportunity, but more than that, I was very humbled by it because of my own personal experience, because I got burned as a 14-year-old in a gasoline explosion, and the injury was difficult, but the recovery was more difficult because there was not a Georgia Firefighters Burn Foundation in existence to kind of provide me with some of the supports I needed, nor was my family offered an opportunity to be encouraged and some hope and assisted in how to deal with this journey. So it's really a labor of love for me, and I truly appreciate it. And I have to say before we get started too that we exist because of our partnership with the fire service across the state, and LaGrange Fire has always been a very active partner, not just in fundraising, but also coming out and assisting with the programs, and we want to express our appreciation for that.
All right, well, thank you, and we from the LaGrange Fire Department, we thank you for being an advocate partner for us, and we just look forward to continuing doing the things that we need to do to provide burn safety information in our community, along with other fire and life safety education materials as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, the Burn Foundation, it seems like the Burn Foundation has been around, seemed like forever. So if you could give us a little brief history about the Georgia Firefighter Burn Foundation.
Well, the Georgia Firefighters Burn Foundation has been around for over 30 years.
Okay.
And we joke around the office that it's one of the best kept secrets in town. But it initially was, our partnership with the fire service is important because the foundation was actually founded by a group of firefighters.
Okay.
And it started out with some firefighters that wanted to raise some money to buy a piece of equipment for a patient that was being discharged from the Grady Burn Center. And they were able to do that, and they really got into it as firefighters can, and they continued raising money for other things, and they formed a nonprofit. And initially it was the DeKalb County Firefighters Burn Foundation, and as more firefighters got involved, it became the Metro Atlanta Firefighters Burn Foundation, and as more firefighters got involved, it became the Georgia Firefighters Burn Foundation, which it is today, which involves fire departments and firefighters from across the entire state.
Okay. And what were some of the needs that made, this type of organization important?
I think some of the needs were, speaking of my own experience, it would have been a tremendous benefit to me to be connected with other children that had experienced the same thing because I didn't see anyone. It would have made a huge difference if my family, particularly my mom, if she could have connected with another mother who had gone through this, just just to provide that support with them. Or my dad could have had another father that he could have sat in and had a beer with or cried with, just to provide that support, because none of us want anyone to get injured in a fire.
Right.
But the reality is, fires do happen, accidents do occur, people do get burned, and we like to think of ourselves as being there to hold that person's hand or to assist that family in their journey of recovery. So some of the needs are, people just need a little bit of encouragement and hope.
Okay.
Yes.
And that means a lot, because, you know, and I've never been a burn victim before, but I can imagine that can have a lot of emotional impact.
Yes.
On someone who goes through that, because they just feel as though that they don't know what to do,
Right.
and they kind of shy away from people and things of that nature because of their own emotions about what happened.
Yes. For me, the burn left me with a different physical appearance. And I didn't know that I could live like this because I didn't have any examples. So one, we pair people who've had the experience with people who are currently going through it to create a support mechanism for them. Okay. But also, it gives us an opportunity to tell the fire service, thank you for what you do.
Right.
Because no firefighter wants anyone to ever get burned, because, you know, what did you not do right? But the reality is there is life after the burn, and we want to make that statement. So we're talking about providing a support network for burn survivors. And at the Burn Foundation, when we use the term burn survivor, we use that term to define everyone who's impacted. So not just a person who's physically injured, but everyone who's touched. So the mother, the father, the sister, the brother, the wife, the husband, everyone whose life is impacted, we consider them a burn survivor as well. In our services we provide, and we include them to try to have a holistic approach to how we provide services.
Okay, sounds good. Now, since we're talking about services that are provided, one thing that helps you all to provide the services you do is your mission statement. And your mission statement just simply says that you want to partner with fire service and burn care community to provide safety and prevention education, support medical facilities, and assist burn survivors in their recovery. Yeah. Kind of touch on that.
Well, when we, the key words in there is education, prevention, support, and recovery in that mission statement. And we partner with the fire service, not just to help provide safety and prevention information to the community at large, but also help in the professional development of firefighters in terms of sponsoring conferences, doing scholarships, helping to purchase equipment for fire departments who maybe are struggling with their budget, those kind of things to help you guys be safer and be more proficient at what you do, working with the medical facilities. Georgia is fortunate to have two burn centers, two major burn centers in the state. The Grady Burn Center in Atlanta and the J.M. Steele Burn Center in Augusta, and these are two very tremendous facilities that do an outstanding job taking care of people not just in Georgia, but in the southeast region. And we work with them. We do anything from providing them with financial grants, providing some assistance to patients that are there. We go in and decorate the burn centers every Christmas. Okay. We do Christmas decorations, and we get a Santa Claus to come, and we sing Christmas carols, and we distribute gifts to everyone who's in the hospital. Just being in a hospital around Christmas time, it's just really difficult, and we try to bring a little bit of cheer in an otherwise kind of depressing situation. Right. And we also do a Christmas appreciation lunch for the staff, because they work so hard. And if they've got to work during the Christmas and the holiday season, we want to just say thank you for what they do. And those things are important. Those things are important. You know, we help sponsor nurses to go to conferences and those kind of things. They're important. And then, of course, assisting burn survivors in their journey of recovery, like we just spoke about. Just what's the new normal going to be after this injury occurs? Things sometimes change. We'll never be the same again. But what's the new normal? How do we help those folks get to that place? And again, you know, it all goes back to encouragement and providing hope.
Okay. Yeah. And that's very important. Providing that hope for those who are discouraged means a lot. Now, the Georgia Firefighter Burn Foundation is known for its camp program for burn injured children. Tell us a little bit about the camp.
Well, we have a camp program, and it's designed specifically for children who've had a burn experience. And this year celebrates the 23rd year, I believe, of this program. And every year we bring about 100 kids together to have a camping experience, just to have fun. But it's so much more than that. We call it fun with a purpose because we recognize bringing kids together with other kids who have similar experiences, they can connect in a way that no one else can because they understand what they've gone through, but it also encourages them and it creates a support mechanism for them. And some of these kids, these relationships become lifelong relationships. We've had a couple of our kids to grow up and get married. You know, I was at a wedding a couple of years ago, and half the wedding party were kids, former kids who attended camp. So these relationships last a lifetime.
Yeah.
And all of the activities, they're fun, but everything is geared towards self-esteem, motivation, conflict resolution, because we want the kids to leave camp with more than just fun memories of a week at camp, but we want to have them leave with some life skills that they can apply to their life when they go back home. And there's like I said, there's a continuum of care because we have the children's burn camp, but we also have a young adult burn survivor program for kids between ages 18 and 25. And we have a families retreat where we bring the entire family together with other families that have similar experiences, and it allows them to go through that for a week. So it's really providing a support mechanism for them. We act as the vehicle to bring people together, but how they use that resource is entirely up to them.
Okay, and that sounds great, and I'm quite sure the kids get a lot out of that.
Yes.
And you have repeat attendees every year. Basically, roughly, how many attendees do you generally have each year at the camp?
We have about 100 kids to attend camp, and I have to say that it takes about 100 volunteers to help us make this program happen. So it is a huge initiative, and the majority of our volunteers are firefighters, but we also have nurses, we have therapists, and we have now our population of adult burn survivors who were former campers. It's growing all the time and I think that's probably the greatest testament of something that's meaningful if someone comes back to give what was given to them. Right. And I think and we have people coming back, so I think we're doing something right. And people said that's got to be depressing, seeing a lot of kids around who've been burned, but it's really not a lot of burn kids. What it is, it's a group of children who've had the burn experience.
Right.
And just changing that perspective makes all the difference in the world.
Right, and of course I've had an opportunity to attend the camp along with some of our other local firefighters over the years, and it is a wonderful experience because to be able to see where our donations are going towards these children being able to communicate and collaborate together and have fun, and to be able to interact with the firefighters who are out there who are, providing a service in their behalf.
Yes.
And and that's just a wonderful feeling. And I'm just thankful that I've had the opportunity to go to the camp. Probably been about 4 or 5 years now.
Yes.
And it's a pleasant experience, and I encourage firefighters to go if they've never been to the camp before.
And we always question who's the bigger kid. Are the kids or are the firefighters like you that come out? Are you really the kids? And I think that speaks a lot to the support that we have. And when we talk about the benefits of this program and what we do, we're talking about all of us because it is a partnership. Because no matter how amazing or impactful the programs are, they wouldn't happen without the funding to support it.
Right.
And you guys get out there with your boots in hand and you're raising funds for us in different activities, but you're also donating your time. Because you get out there and you help raise funds, but you also come out to camp and you don't have to do that. Right. So it's people really donating a piece of themselves.
Right.
And we honor that and we appreciate it, and we're just so happy to have more than happy, thankful to have this partnership.
Right. All right. Sounds good. Well, we've talked about a lot of great information, and we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to have more here on Smoke Signals. So stay tuned. Welcome back. We've been here talking with Dennis Garden, the Executive Director of the Georgia Firefighter Burn Foundation. And Dennis, we talked about several things that the Georgia Firefighter Burn Foundation does and the services that provided. But you all also have some publications that you all have put together. So let's kind of talk about those real quick.
Okay. We actually produce a quarterly newsletter. We do that in hard copy, and we also do it in electronic format as well. And that really spotlights like different activities that are going on around the state. What firefighters are doing, or some kind of activity that's going on. We spotlight families, just really to put emphasis on the populations that we serve. And we've had a history of producing safety and prevention materials too. But over the last several years, we've began to move away from that because we're not the experts. You know, we're not fire service. We're partners with the fire service and a valuable partner. So we've moved to being a referral source. So if people call us, because we're the Georgia Firefighters Burn Foundation, so we're supposed to be the seat of knowledge. And when people call us and they're wanting materials, we refer them. We either refer them to the National Fire Protection Agency, or depending on the area of the state they're located, we'll refer them to their local fire department. And it's always amazing to us that people don't know that the fire department provides a service to come and do a safety check on your home. People just don't know, but the fire department, they're really, you guys are servants of the people, and nothing has to be burning to call the fire department.
Exactly.
So we refer people to places where they can get information, and even with our smoke detectors, we provide some smoke detectors, but we also assist fire departments, some of the volunteer fire departments that don't have it in their budget. We'll provide them with smoke detectors that they'll go and install for free. So the publications, you know, we move away from that other than just some information on activities that are going on around the state, but the safety and prevention, we defer to you guys. And I guess you can tell me why that's important, because we spoke on a little bit earlier before we were on camera.
Well, you know, when you talk about subject matter experts in a particular field, you know, it's always good to partner with those resources so that when you have a program or you have an initiative or you're getting phone calls, it's always good to refer to those subject matter experts. And like you said, you know, you all deal with services and programs for burn victims. You're not experts into, you know, fire and life safety. And so that makes a lot of sense. And so you don't want to put yourself in a bad position by giving information out that you may not be well diverse in, and being able to utilize your resources to share that information. So I think that's very important.
And I think the information changes so much and so rapidly in terms of, because I understand today fighting a fire is a lot different than fighting a fire 20 years ago, 30 years ago, because there's so many more materials that go into building a house now, and you got to be aware of that. You know, so we're being partners with experts means we don't have to be the partner. I mean, we don't have to be the expert.
Exactly. Now, we talked about your publication. There's one that I have here, and want to kind of zoom in with the camera here. This is burning issues, and this is something that you all do on a quarterly basis. And has a lot of great information in there and spotlights and things of that nature. So we're thankful that you all, not only the other publications that you all have in-house, but you also have something that can go out in the community as well as the fire department.
It's interesting you didn't show the other side of that newsletter, and I'm gonna call you out on that. So get a close up on the other side of the newsletter as well. No sense in being modest, because we talked about spotlights, and you can see a spotlight on here. We have our own Chris Taylor there.
And you know, it was funny because
shameless plug. But
when I got the and I appreciate you doing that. I got the phone call about being spotlighted in the burning issues, and so, you know, I didn't even hesitate. And I was glad that I was able to be a part of that. And you know, it's not about me. It's about our department, and it's about the services that we provide in our community. And I think that, you know, that needed to be put out there, and so people will be aware of it.
And I think the beauty of our partnership, and we really and truly call it and consider it a partnership. Our partnership with the fire service is that we develop personal relationships, that we can call you, and I know that you're busy, but we can call you, or we can call LaGrange Fire, and you guys step up to the plate, you know, and that's that situation repeats itself over and over and over again, because even if we had all the funding that we needed, and I'm not sure if a nonprofit ever has all the funding they needed, but if we had all the funding that we needed and we didn't have the bodies and the hearts that are donated, and you guys stepping up and giving of yourselves, it still wouldn't work.
Right.
So when we talk about a partnership in this continuum, it really is a partnership.
Yep. And now, let's go get to some fun stuff. Give Burns the Boot campaign 2015 is among us.
Yes.
And so can you tell us a little bit about the campaign that is kicking off? It's 26th year.
Yes.
So I know y'all are very excited about that and some of the fundraising initiatives that will be going on.
Yes, this is the 26th year of this fundraising initiative, and it's called Give Burns the Boot. And I'm sure people have seen firefighters out on street corners or in front of storefronts with a boot in their hand, asking for donations. And it's always amazing to me, the generosity of people that understand that if a firefighter is raising money, it gives us instant credibility. It really does, because you guys wouldn't be supporting something that wasn't a worthwhile cause. Right. And just every year, the money that's put in those boots, it has such a far-reaching impact. And people who put money in the boot, I just really want them to understand that that money, that dollar, that $5, that $100, whatever they choose to put in the boot, it really goes a long way in impacting people, because, as we said earlier, the programs and services that we provide are amazing and are tremendously impactful in people's lives, but it doesn't happen without the funding to support it. And this is the 26th year of the boot drive, and it's been consistently successful, because we hang our hat and brag on the fact that there is no cost for any program or service offered by the Georgia Firefighters Burn Foundation, and that's rare these days. But we want to continue. We want 26 more years of providing a service because it's needed, not because someone can afford to pay for it.
Right.
Our children's burn camp, there's a cost per person there, and we have 100 kids and 100 volunteers. We haven't had to charge for that.
That's great.
Helping to assist families that have been injured in their house and these kind of things, we haven't had to charge for anything. And that's a testament to what the fire department does in the Give Burns the Boot campaign. And there are well over 100 departments from across the state that participate in this campaign, and it kicks off May 1st. Some departments will be out a little bit earlier, but our official kickoff is May 1st, and that runs throughout the year, and we're so excited about that, because it's an exciting time of year.
Right.
People are out there, they're excited, they're enthusiastic, and we get excited about it too. There's a real buzz around the office, because the campaign really, it absorbs everything that's going in the office. Everything is focused on that, because it's our life's blood. Right. As a nonprofit, we operate based on the charity of people, and people trusting that we're going to do the right thing with these funds, or these funds are going towards really impacting a life, and we're super stoked about it. And we began last year to add another component to that, where there's an online component to Give Burns the Boot. And I think a side value, an additional value of the boot drive is 10% of the funds raised by a department goes right back to that department for their local safety and prevention initiative. So it's a win-win for everyone.
Right. Awesome. Awesome. And of course, LaGrange Fire Department will be kicking off their boot drive initiative, their Give Burn the Boot, and it will be on May the 21st, 22nd, 23rd from 12 o'clock noon until 6 p.m. And we will be at the local Kroger and Walmart getting donations for the Georgia Firefighter Burn Foundation. So keep that in mind, and we will actually add some additional information in our media outlets as well about the boot drive. And of course, we're celebrating 20 years. LaGrange Fire being involved in the Give Burns the Boot campaign. 20 years, man, and we can't tell you, 20 years of helping us impact lives. That is just an amazing thing. And I, on behalf of the Georgia Firefighters Burn Foundation and those we serve, I want to say a personal thank you
to those folks who have 20 years been out there doing it, man. We just can't say thank you enough.
Yeah, and we're very fortunate and thankful that we had an opportunity to be doing it for 20 years, and we look forward to continuing our services for the Burn Foundation as we continue forward. And some of the services that we also provide, we always have a partnership. We talk about other things that are being done in the community. Locally, we have our annual Raise Run in memory of our belated Deputy Chief Ray Stewart. And it'll be held this summer, so there'll be more information about it.
And that's always a fun time.
Yeah, sure is. And as we get ready to close out, are there any safety messages that you would like to share with our viewing audience before we leave?
I would, but I like to say real quick about the online. It's giveburnstoboot.org.
Okay.
That's how they can log on to make a donation, and they can say it's for LaGrange. There's a page for LaGrange, and that'll go towards LaGrange total, which trickles back to that 10%.
Okay. Cool.
But a safety message I would like to leave is, we say in the fire service and we say around the office that the worst burn and the worst fire that occurs is the one that could have been avoided. And I think that's so important, because everyone thinks that crime can touch them, but not fire. Because people do very seldom forget to lock their door when they leave home, but they forget to change the battery in their smoke alarm. So some simple things that that's not impacted by budget is have a smoke alarm in your home.
Yes.
And if you have one, check the battery, change the batteries, and have an evacuation plan. And those are two very, very simple but life-saving things to do. Because sometimes people have an evacuation plan. My own sister had an evacuation plan with her kids, and they said they had one, but they hadn't practiced it in so long that all of her kids gave a different answer. You know, so smoke alarms, change those batteries, have an evacuation plan. Because we would love for you guys to sit around the fire station with nothing to do, because no one's getting burned anymore and no fires are occurring. But until we get to that thing, thank God for what you guys do.
Thank you. And of course, you know, even though you mentioned us not having anything to do, we're still a service provider, so we're going to always have something to do.
Yeah, but let it not be those emergency calls.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well, Dennis, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show, and we thank you again for taking time out to share this very worthy information, especially from the Georgia Firefighter Burn Foundation, and look forward to seeing you in the future.
And the Georgia Firefighters Burn Foundation, that's www.gfbf.org. And if folks want to log on and get on our mailing list, we're always sending things out. We won't bombard them like a telemarketer, but we do send things out.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you.
Well, we'd like to take this time to thank each and every one of our viewers for watching another segment of Smoke Signals. Until next time, take care.